Hello everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to pull back the curtain and dive into the world of user experience design, or as you probably know it, UX. We're going to walk through the entire process that takes a simple idea and transforms it into a product that, well, that feels like it was made just for you. And it all kicks off with one big question.
So, here it is, the question that's at the heart of everything we're about to cover. How in the world do you build something, an app, a website, anything digital, that people just get? You know, something that feels completely natural, right from that very first tap or click. Well, the answer isn't magic, it's a process. All right, so our journey starts, maybe surprisingly, not with cool colors or slick fonts, but with pure, raw structure. I want you to think about it like building a house. You wouldn't just start painting a wall in an empty lot, right? No, you'd start with a blueprint to figure out where all the rooms and doors and hallways are supposed to go. And that is exactly where we begin in UX design.
And that digital blueprint? It has a name, Information Architecture, or IA for short. Now, the key word I want you to focus on here is science. This isn't just about tidying things up. It's a very deliberate, methodical way of organizing all the stuff in your product so that a user can find exactly what they're looking for without even having to think about it. It's all about building a logical, solid foundation. The people who literally wrote the book on IA broke it down into these 4 key parts. Let's stick with that news website example. The organization system is how you group stories into categories like sports or technology. The labeling system is what you actually call those categories. The navigation system is the menu that lets you jump between them. And of course, the searching system is that little search bar for when you know exactly what you want. You nail these 4, and you've got a foundation of stone. Okay, so our blueprint is drawn up. Now it's time to start building. We're moving away from the abstract plan and into something you can actually see. We're going to start visualizing what this thing will actually look like. The very first step in visualizing is something called a wireframe. And honestly, it's the bare bones skeleton of the product. It's a super simple layout that just shows where everything is going to live. Where the buttons go, where images will be, where the text sits. There are no colors, no fancy fonts, nothing pretty. At this stage, the only thing that matters is structure. It is 100% function over form. Now, after the wireframe, we move on to the mockup. So if the wireframe was the skeleton, the mockup is the skin. This is a static but super detailed visual that shows you exactly how the final product is going to look. We're talking colors, fonts, spacing, all of it. It looks completely real, but you can't click on anything yet. Think of it like a beautiful photograph of the finished product.
So let's put it really simply. The wireframe is the skeleton. It's all about structure and how things work. The mock-up is the skin. It's all about the final look and feel. They're both absolutely essential, but they're solving totally different problems along the way.
Okay, so we've got the skeleton and the skin, but it's still just a pretty picture. We can't actually use it. That's where the prototype comes in. A prototype is an interactive simulation that actually brings the whole design to life. If the mock-up was a photo of a house, the prototype is the fully furnished model home that you can actually walk through and open doors in. Its entire purpose is to test the design with real people before you spend a dime on coding.
But here's the thing. Not all prototypes are created equal. They're usually defined by these 4 qualities. First, representation. Is it just a sketch on paper or a clickable digital thing? Then, precision. How detailed is it? Is it a rough sketch or a pixel-perfect design? Interactivity. How much can you actually do with it? Can you click one button or can you navigate the entire app? And finally, evolution. Is this just a quick throwaway test, or is this prototype meant to slowly evolve into the final product?
So, we've talked about the what, the things you actually make during the design process. But what about the philosophy that guides all of it? You know, the why. That, my friends, is where we get into the design thinking mindset.
The most critical thing to get about design thinking is that it is not a straight line. You don't just do step 1, then step 2, then step 3, and you're done. No way. As you can see here, it's a loop, a constant cycle. You analyze what users need, you design a solution, you build a prototype to test it, and you evaluate the feedback. And then, you use that feedback to start the whole cycle over again, making it better each and every time.
And this table here shows just how far we've come. We started in this engineering paradigm, which only asked one question. Does it work? Then, things got a little better. We moved to human information processing, asking, is it easy? But design thinking, it asks a much deeper, more human question. Does it feel right? And suddenly, the focus isn't just on function anymore. It's about the user's emotional journey.
And that brings us to our final, and honestly, the most important part of this whole thing. Everything we've talked about, from IA to prototypes to this design thinking mindset, it's all been in service of one single goal: getting inside the user's mind. And this is the absolute core concept, the mental model. A mental model is basically your user's internal belief about how your product is supposed to work. And that belief is built from every single app, website, and even physical object they've ever used in their entire life. So the designer's biggest challenge isn't just building a cool product, it's figuring out what this pre-existing mental model is first.
And this is the magic moment. This is what it's all for. When your product's design perfectly aligns with the user's mental model, when it works exactly how they expect it to work, the product feels intuitive. They don't have to learn a thing. It just makes sense. The entire process we've just walked through is all about closing the gap between how the system is built and how the user thinks it should work.
So I'll leave you with this final, powerful question to think about. When we're building things, it's so easy to get lost in the features, the tech, the code. But the greatest designs always come back to the human being on the other side of that screen. So are you just building a product, or are you building an experience that truly connects with how someone actually thinks and feels? Thanks for joining me.